Hey, Steven, we got to figure out an intro to the podcast.
That works.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of No Fluff MSP Marketing. We're switching it up today. I'm your host, Maddie Franz, and this is my co-host, Taher Hamid.
What's up?
Yes. And today we are going to be going over some thoughts and advice from me as my first 6 months as a marketing coordinator. So I started interning before coming on as an actual marketing coordinator. So these are just my thoughts and advice from actually legitimately being a marketing coordinator. So yeah, let's get into it. So I would say probably my number one piece of advice for starting, because if you're like me and you're coming straight from college or having no MSP experience, I had no idea what that even was really. So I would just say spend a lot of time learning and figuring out what the business is, and probably spend a lot of time searching your company's website, looking things up, asking your supervisor or somebody in sales and figuring out what exactly the process is. And then once you figured that out, you can kind of take it a step further and start understanding what you're actually marketing.
100%. It's like the classic quote on if you got to cut down a tree, spend 80% of the time sharpening the axe. Sometimes people get into the role, they want to make an impact quickly, so they just start doing. The problem is if you start doing before you're learning, there's going to be a lot of wasted time and effort. Yeah. And so I always stress that, and I stress that, Maddie. I'm like, Maddie, if you need to take this entire week just to learn, just Google, YouTube, here's all the guides on MSP Camp. And she really took that to heart, because I didn't have a lot on her plate at first. I'm like, look, I just need you to know the industry. That's exactly why on the course that we're building, the entire first lesson is just learning what a managed service provider is. It doesn't talk at all about marketing yet, because that foundation. Okay, I'll shut up now. Keep going. You're doing great.
Okay, awesome. So then I would just say, once you really know what the industry is and you can start doing these marketing tasks, I would say really you want to just hone in on making a weekly or even a monthly checklist would be better. Give yourself that visual representation of, okay, I need to be having social media posts going out every day, direct mail going out once a month, emails going out for, depending on if you're running webinars or not, a couple times a week, and really just figure out what your to-do list is. And that helps so much, because it can become very overwhelming very quickly when you just see all these things that you need to be doing in front of you. And another thing that will help with that is on MSP Camp, we actually have, like Taher said, we have a lot of free guides, and one that would be very helpful for this would be the campaign checklist guide. And this really breaks down what you need to be doing on a weekly or monthly basis to be running your campaigns and be doing those marketing tasks. So,
yeah, and that's for whether you're an MSP Camp member or not an MSP Camp member. The guides are all totally free for everybody. Anybody listening, you don't have to be an MSP Camp member to learn. With everything we do, we put on these guides. So, good point, Maddie.
Yeah, because if you're just coming in as a marketing coordinator and maybe you're the only marketing person, you can be what do I even need to be doing? Yep. So really seeing you need to be doing this, this, and that will help you so much.
And taking that even a step further, which not to, again, we really make sure we don't do plugs on this on the podcast, but this is hyper important and why we're spending so much time on the new website. New website goes live December, which is totally going to be an insanely better user experience, finding content based on your membership level, etc. But right after that, and we're already currently working on it, it's not like we're in progress of working on it right now, is exactly what Maddie's talking about on what should I be doing on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis. And that's going to be built into scorecards on the website. And I think that's so important because, there's so many reasons, but one, a new coordinator, how do we get them up to speed? The course is going to get them up to speed. How do they know what they need to be doing on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis? The scorecard's going to be doing that. How do we know what to do when we are ready to actually run a campaign? Because campaigns need to be on top of the foundation, right? You have to build the foundation. And okay, well, how to build the foundation? That's all going to be on the scorecard. These are things these are the activities you have to be doing. And then once you're comfortable in your marketing, that's when you run a campaign, right? You may not just start right off running a campaign if you don't have the bones in place. But the great thing is a lot of the things in the campaign are going to be directly correlated with filling out that scorecard properly. Like, okay, how many 5-star reviews did we get? Or how many social media posts did we do out? Okay, cool. We're running a campaign. So the campaign calls for 5 posts a week. So that helps a lot of the aspects of the scorecard. Not every aspect of the scorecard. There's a lot of stuff that you need to be doing from a marketing perspective that doesn't fall into running a campaign, right? There's that ongoing activities to fill out a fuller strategy, and campaigns are kind of on top of that. So this whole process is going to make plugging somebody into a system super easy. MSP Camp has been, here's the content. Now MSP Camp is moving to, here's exactly what you need to do to succeed. And these are the accountability metrics that it's not just the marketing coordinator on the scorecard, by the way. There are pieces that the owner has to fill out, like how many network reviews or how many networking events did you go to? Maybe that's the owner, maybe that's the salesperson, usually not the coordinator, right? What's your total MRR? What's your total project hardware? These things that are going to keep us accountable for everybody on the team focused on growth. So I'm just super excited about this. I know that peer groups and accountability has been one of the greatest aspects of our success over the years. So now bringing that to the website on all membership levels, not just the locked membership levels, right? Even Scout Plus is going to have these accountability groups. They're going to have the scorecards, and all of that is going to be baked into leaderboards, right? And people can decide to share their scorecards and their points publicly, or they can say, no, I want to keep this just for my company, or I just want to share this with my peer group. So a lot coming on exactly what Maddie's talking about. So I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that because it is going to make things so much simpler than the thousands of things that we need to be doing. No, let's simplify it and let's make it an easy to execute ongoing process for anybody to plug into. So that's coming. Super excited about it. Anyway, go ahead, Maddie. You're doing great. I need to just shut up. Go ahead.
No, you're doing great. These are all great points. The next one is my personal favorite, but ChatGPT is your best friend when it comes to anything with marketing, in my opinion. Like, I literally use ChatGPT every single day.
Nice.
If you can get ChatGPT 4, I highly, highly recommend it because now they have implemented, they can actively surf the web, generate images, and analyze data. So that is just like super cool where ChatGPT is going. But I like to use ChatGPT to help generate ideas for tech tip videos, blogs, social media captions, social media hashtags, content ideas. Like, honestly, the opportunities are endless. And if you even have a question about the MSP business, you can just ask ChatGPT and it can give you like all this information. So yeah, it's a super useful tool. And if you're not using it, you really need to be using it because it, one, saves you so much time and it's just so powerful with everything that you can learn on it. So yes.
Yeah, Maddie's a ChatGPT queen.
I really am. I love it. So, and then my next point would be to really just schedule out anything you can in advance. So especially for social media, like mainly, because you need to be using something like Publer, just anything where you can just do it all at once so you don't have to be worrying about that every day. Because imagine if you're going on to like LinkedIn, Facebook, Google My Business, and having to manually do that, like that would take 40 hours a week, honestly, probably.
100%.
So
and that's why, like, we've been doing some, like, scheduling out the webinar, scheduling out the emails for the webinar, scheduling out the social media posts, whatever. And we did a recent post on, or an episode on direct mail. Direct mail for us has always been haphazard and inconsistent, and that's because it was always a pain in the butt because I couldn't schedule them out. But now with Stamp and us having competency in Stamp, and we've tried so many different providers, Stamp is the best one. If you have it in your market, use Stamp. I mean, trust me, that's the one to go with. A little more expensive, but you pay for what you get. Now we schedule out these direct mail pieces months in advance. So again, we can check that box on the scorecard and we can put the number in every single month. It is an ongoing activity and it takes just that, whatever couple hours, one time every quarter to get that activity done, and it makes a massive impact. So another great point by Maddie. You're killing it. Keep going. Good job.
So my last point would be to just always be willing to try new things when it comes to marketing, because the internet is a vast place. And if it really does poorly, you can either just delete it or it'll get like trumped by other content that you're going to be posting out there. So like we, for instance, do like these crazy, wacky live action videos, and that's like super different. Like you would probably not see a lot of people doing them, but they're so fun and they do really well. So that's just like another perfect example. But yeah, those are my compiled thoughts and advice over my first 6 months as a marketing coordinator here. So hope it was all helpful to you guys.
And so if, for instance, obviously this episode is for the marketing coordinators and managers. If somebody's starting new this month, this quarter, what is, outside of like what you just covered, like what is just some general like maybe motivation or tips or anything you would just say directly to that person to kind of keep them motivated in the complex and difficult world of B2B marketing?
So I know it can be like very stressful and overwhelming because it kind of was for me at first, but you just have to like take a step back and realize that this is a journey and you can do one thing at a time and like learn one thing and then move on to the next thing. And then it'll seem so much easier and you'll actually learn how to do these things. And like one thing that we really do a lot that Steven helps me with so much is he'll film like these SOP videos for me, and I am a very much like love to go back and watch the video type of person. So these help so much for if you're doing things like scheduling out social media on Publer, sending out emails on ActiveCampaign, Facebook remarketing ads, whatever the case may be. But yeah, those things help a lot. So if you, like these videos exist on YouTube also, so you can YouTube most things. So yeah.
That's so spot on. It's like, we did that whole episode on put your figure it out hat on. Like there's so many things that we don't know. And especially as a new coordinator or an owner trying to learn marketing, et cetera, there's so much we don't know, but you're the kind of person that's listening to a podcast to learn more, right? You're already I'm going to figure it out. And that's so important in marketing because there've been so many things over the years that I figured out just by Googling and YouTubing and finding a video like, okay, how do I optimize a page for SEO? Oh, cool. There's like this plugin called Rank Math that like really helps, and this is all we have to do. Cool. Now we have an SOP on it. So anybody that needs to do that, they have a video on how to do it. Like, or it's like, okay, cool. How do we look at analytics? Like, what should I even be looking at? Oh, awesome. A 10-minute video taught me everything I needed to know. Like, we think because we don't know, like we need to wait for someone to tell us or we need to ask somebody, but the reality is we don't. Like, one of my favorite quotes, it's ironic because this came from an intern in my undergrad, but she interned at a big ass healthcare organization, and she was reporting directly to the CEO of a massive company. And what she said, and this is always stuck with me since she said it, is you always hear there's no stupid questions, or you always hear there's no silly questions. She's like, that's wrong. And I was like, whoa, what? And she's like, yeah, when you are reporting to the CEO of a company that really has no idea what you're working on a daily basis, you get big, broad projects or initiatives, you have to figure it out on your own. And when you are ready to ask a question, you better have made sure you did your homework before you ask that question, because that person is extremely busy. And for the marketing people listening right now, that is how it is in the MSP space. Most MSP owners, even when we get to the size we're at, coming up on 5 million, like the MSP owner is extremely busy. And if you were going to them asking like, hey, how many social media posts do you want me to schedule out? No, don't ask that question, right? Or like, hey, how many, like, how do we do, what CRM are we using? No, you got to figure it out, right? You got to know, you got to ask. Don't get me wrong. There's going to be some training. I'm sure the owner is going to provide some training, but the owners oftentimes don't know a lot about marketing. And you're coming in, they're relying on you to learn and understand and be engaged with marketing. And that's why MSP Camp to me is so important for this industry. And I'm like so grateful that me, Maddie, and Steven are spearheading this thing, and it's working as intended. And we're in year one. Like, what's coming next, I'm just so thrilled about, because we are going to be able to take that coordinator, that manager that has no idea what the MSP space is, no idea how to do marketing, or maybe some idea how to do marketing, and give them step-by-step instructions on how to succeed. There is a huge turnover rate on marketing and salespeople in the MSP space because they don't have that step-by-step guidance. And that is what's always been missing for me. That's why it took me a year and a half to really find any level of success in my role, and talk about it all the time. Like I thought I was going to get fired because I wasn't succeeding. I didn't know where to turn. When I did turn to somebody, it was some guru that's trying to teach me about sales. I'm like, okay, cool. sales is important, but I don't have any leads to do sales. Like, I mean, everyone's yelling sales stuff. Like, in this industry, it seems like everybody's screaming like how to close a sale. And I know so many MSP salespeople, so many that take different types of training. Their conversion rate, even when they're doing all the sales rate, is no different than mine. And I take no sales trainings, right? Like, so that is where so much of the advice I was hearing when I was coming up. And I'm like, okay, cool, but how do I get the leads? And so this is probably not the best approach, but my approach over the last 7 years is like, I'm going to get so many leads that I don't have to care about sales. And over time, it just made me a better salesperson because I'm in so many sales meetings. I think you need to know sales, but the reality is practice makes perfect. Get in more sales meetings. You're going to get better at sales. I've never once deployed a sales tactic or sales trick to get somebody to sign a deal. Like, I don't know. So anyways, that's also the power of inbound, is when you got people coming to you because you're doing badass stuff and they want to work with you, the conversions just happen easier than if you're doing a lot more cold stuff and having to do all the tricks to actually get them to close. So bit of a rant there. Look at me once again. I do apologize.
Shocker.
Maddie.
No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Dang. But yeah, exactly. So Maddie, I really appreciate it. This is gold.
Yeah, thanks for having me, letting me be the host today.
Yes, Maddie, the host. I couldn't make the backdoor joke today because Steven's not here. But,
Yeah.
Anything else before we kind of wrap up today?
I think that's it for me. If you guys have any questions or want more advice, you guys can always comment those questions on this video, and we can maybe do another Q&A or another thoughts and advice video.
Yeah, Maddie is also on all the fireside chats that we have every month. So if you're a marketing coordinator, marketing manager, make sure you're coming to those. Make sure it's not just an owner or CEO thing. Make sure you're coming to those. And if you have any questions for Maddie, she'll be on those and happy to answer.
Yes.
She did an awesome little stamp demo on our last fireside chat.
Yep.
I would think that was very helpful to all the members. So awesome. Well, Maddie, thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you to you that's listening and help in letting us do this. I mean, it's been the most satisfying thing ever. Challenge. Let's move to challenge of the week.
Oh, yeah. Challenge of the week. Hope you have one.
Test your might.
So you're saying we can't actually play the Mortal Kombat theme song? Don't have the budget. All right, Steven, it's up to you.
Finish him.
Dun, 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 dun,
Challenge
dun,
of
dun,
the
dun,
week.
Dun, dun, dun.
Excellent.
All right. Challenge this week. Maddie, what's the challenge?
I knew he was going to do this. That's why I said, hope you have one. Okay. My challenge of the week for all the marketing coordinators would to read through all the marketing targeted guides on MSP Camp.
Nice.
Yes. Even if you've already read them, a refresher is always nice. I will even go back and reread them quite often. So
That's
yes.
a great challenge. I put you on the spot
Yeah.
and you nailed it.
Wow, I'm really proud of myself because I'm not good under pressure. So yes, that is the challenge.
That is gold. Yeah, those guides, I know they're just PDFs, which is why we're converting them into these scorecards and making it fun and gamification and accountability and and leaderboards and all that good stuff. But the guides, I've spent I've personally written every single one of the guides on there, and I've poured my heart and soul in there. So thank you, Maddie, for making people do that. And again, you don't have to be an MSP Camp member to get the value of those guides. They're totally free. So go get them. Thanks, Maddie. Thank you to the listeners, and we will see you on the next one.
Yep. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.